Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meowmix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And we are here to talk Panthers Falcons divisional game against an opponent that we know very well.
Kind of. I mean, it does seem like a very new type of team.
Through the history.
Yes.
We know them very well. But yeah, this is a team that, seems to be kind of finding themselves a little bit, I think, especially after last week, that thriller with Thursday night game, right?
Yeah.
Against the Bucks.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Just shootout. A lot of fun. We're getting them on a mini bye after our worst game with Andy Dalton as quarterback. So, I'm not going to pretend that I think the Panthers are going to play well in this game. I hope they do, but I think this could be a rough one, Jerry.
I do too. I think, at the beginning of the season, I think we both picked Atlanta as the best roster. I was kind of curious about how their coaching staff was going to mend, but it seems to be going well. So
they're 3-2. Like they're coming along.
So yeah, I was hoping Andy Dalton turned the ship around on offense, but last week was just awful. Now, it's not all on Andy Dalton. The defense couldn't do anything.
I mean, that's the big thing, right? Like I feel like the offense is capable of staying in games, but the defense, especially last week, just looked awful. And now we've got, injuries popping up, and it never stops, man. Like it's bad news following bad news following bad news, with injuries and especially on the defense where we were already thin. I mean, I could say we talked about it in the preseason, but everybody was talking about it, right? The Panthers pass rush was going to be a problem. They don't have any talent,
And we are begging them to sign somebody, draft somebody that could make a difference. They went out and got DJ Wonnum and Jadeveon Clowney. Wonnum hasn't even played a simple snap.
Wonnum hasn't played, and Clowney was exactly what I feared he would be, here for a paycheck. He has not played well. He has not been even 50% of what, the Brian Burns production, like that's what we were hoping was he would be 70-80% of that. He's not even been 50%, not even been 30% of it.
But is that his fault or the simple fact that, hey, it's Jadeveon Clowney and nobody else on the other side?
I mean, we saw that with Burns for several years, and he still was able to at least get to the quarterback sometimes.
I think
Clowney
Burns
has not done
Burns
anything.
is on another level than what Clowney is now.
He certainly is. But Clowney's not that old. But to have him come in and expect him to be the number one pass rusher on this team it just didn't seem like a good idea to begin with, and it has proven out to be a very poor idea. But Wonnum, we were kind of, I wouldn't say we were hyped about that signing, but we thought those two together could at least have some semblance of a pass rush. We haven't even seen Wonnum, and we're not going to see him again this week. I don't know when we're going to see him, but it's awful. The pass rush is awful.
And the injury was known when they signed him. So it wasn't like he got into camp, got a tweak, and then that's what happened. No. They signed him knowing that he was already injured.
They did not. I would say they did not expect him to not play the whole season. Like they thought he was going to play. They thought he was going to be ready to start the season. And I don't know if the injury just never healed, or if something happened in, training camp or in rehab. He tweaked something again. I really don't know. But whatever the case is, like this guy is just, I don't know if he's ever going to play for the Panthers. Like it's been awful.
I think he'll play for the Panthers. I think he is on a 2-year deal, so at least we had him next year.
I don't know.
Too.
Maybe. maybe maybe he'll play next year. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But this it's really rough. But before we get too far into the game and everything like that, there is a little bit of news to talk about here. So take it away, Jerry.
All right. Former Carolina Panthers quarterback Cam Newton joining the ESPN's First Take as a regular panelist. This news broke earlier today, which is Thursday. Interesting. I hope Cam Newton does come out and look. He's a great speaker. He's great, encouraging. But sometimes
he's a great speaker.
Well, okay. He's a good motivational type of speaker. Does that make sense? Like, I think he could rally people, but the simple problem is he does rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, Cam, so I've watched quite a bit of Cam's YouTube channel, right? I like it. I think he's pretty good at that. I think some of the things he says is pretty well thought out. The format for First Take, though, where you kind of got to be rapid fire back and forth, strong on your convictions, even if you're wrong, maybe especially if you're wrong, right? I don't know if that's what Cam's going to be best at, but I'm interested to watch. I think tomorrow is his first appearance, the 11th, I believe. So I'm gonna watch it. Good for him. This is what he's wanted for a while, is to be on ESPN, to be part of the sports media. Like it's kind of why he started his YouTube channel. It's what he wants to be. I've heard several interviews with him on Dan Patrick where he's, sought advice from Dan Patrick, one of the legends, and that's what he wants to be, right? He wants to be one of those guys. So he's going to get his opportunity. And yeah, I just don't know if First Take is the right platform for him, but I hope it is. I hope he does really well.
Yeah, I do too. I really do hope he does well. I really like Cam. I do think he's kind of misunderstood by the more populace than Carolina fans. I think he's a good guy in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just the flashiness, his demeanor can get people.
He's 6 feet 250, god of an athlete, or at least he was before he got injured. Always, MVP, Super Bowl quarterback. Like, he's got an ego, okay?
Yeah.
And who wouldn't, right? If you're that kind of, like, you're an alpha guy like that, you're gonna have an ego. Don't raise your hand and say you're not gonna have an ego.
No. If I looked like him, yeah, I would have an ego.
Right.
Ego,
you'd be wearing crazy hats.
6'3", 6'4", like 250, ripped. Yeah.
Of course.
I wouldn't even own shirts at that point.
I mean, and a lot of athletes are like this, right? Like, they rub people the wrong way, but it's hard to blame them because they were raised being told that they're the greatest thing that ever walked the earth, and they kind of proved it out, right? Like they got to where they always knew they were going to go.
Now with First Take, though, they do. I haven't watched First Take in a while, but last time I remembered, they do a lot more sports than just football. So I'll be interested how he goes on other sports as well. Because I know he's big into basketball. I mean, I saw him at Hornets game as I was in nosebleeds. He was on the floor, So I saw. Right. I've been in the same building.
Yeah. I mean, I think, some athletes are not big sports fans, right? Some aren't. Cam is. Cam's a big sports fan. I think I think he has the knowledge to do it. I just don't know if he can do the back and forth rapid fire like Stephen A. Smith can, right? Like Shannon Sharp. I didn't know Shannon Sharp was going to be good, and he turned out to be pretty good at that type of thing. So, maybe Cam will be, and I hope he is. I just haven't seen him in that type of scenario before, I guess. That maybe is my only hang up, is that I just haven't seen it before from him.
I mean, obviously, if he's going to become a regular panelist, I'm assuming they tested him out a few times, and I would hope
so. Yeah, I would hope so.
Okay, moving on. Austin Corbett Center is out for the season, most likely with a torn bicep. Ouch!
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, go ahead. It keeps tripping over each other.
I was just gonna say, like, Yeah, another season-ending injury for this guy. Like, was this his last year under contract? I think it is, right?
I think it is too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I when he plays, he's really good, but he doesn't stay on the field.
He was my big worry on the offensive line, and he was great. I mean, the whole offensive line has been great this offseason. So, I mean, yeah, that stinks really bad because I was hoping that the O-line at least would be solidified for the full year, giving whoever was quarterback and running back,
consistency.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah. Cade Mays is back. They signed him off, I think, the Bills practice squad. So
I missed that. That's good to know. I know Brady Christensen is gonna probably get the start this week. So
Cade Mays probably the backup, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yep.
Panthers also signed edge Shaq Lawson, trying to make up for all the injuries on that side. A little late.
Yeah. A little late.
Nothing against Shaq Lawson. I think
late in his career. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, bringing him in right now, he has some talent. Nothing spectacular. It's what you get when you are 5 games into the season and you're signing people that you need to contribute right now.
Yeah, I don't expect much from Shaq Lawson. I hope, he discovers some magic or something. But I mean, he can't be much worse, I guess. I saw Marquise Haynes is close to being ready as well. Canales mentioned that in one of his press conferences this week. So he'd be but again, these are 2 guys that are kind of coming on off the street that were, that could potentially be starting, very soon.
Yeah. Or at least getting solid reps where that you're relying on them to muster up some sort of pass defense.
Right.
Or pass rush.
I don't know, man. It doesn't move the needle too much for me, but hey, glad he's here.
Yeah. Last thing is Panthers will wear their black helmets for the 3rd time ever, this time with blue jerseys this weekend. Not a good time, in my opinion, to go ahead and keep rolling out the black helmets. I know it's probably pre-planned, but still.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. They're so precious with these black helmets. Like, I love the black helmet.
I do too.
I think it should be the normal helmet. I think it looks great. But can we only do it one time a year? Can we not mix it up a little and have more than once? And I don't know how they're going to look with I haven't seen pictures yet with the blue jersey. I'm kind of imagining it in my head.
It's all right. All
black I like
is
it with
the way.
Black yeah, I think the black is so much nicer looking, but I love the Panthers. I'm not a massive fan of the blue jerseys.
Oh, I love the blue jerseys.
With the black pants.
Oh, with the black pants, it's ugly.
Which I think
100% is wrong.
I think that's what they're doing, is blue jerseys with black pants.
Yeah,
blue jerseys with white pants I like a lot.
Oh, yeah. Those are sharp.
I think that's what I read, is they're doing it with the black pants. So, yeah, black helmet, blue jersey, black pants, and I don't know. I don't know about that. But
whatever moves the needle, I guess, for the Panthers at this point. I mean,
I guess.
You have, 6 losing seasons in a row. You're the last. You look like the worst team in the league for the past 2-3 years. I mean, no offense since Cam is gone. I mean, oh my God, we got to get something to rouse the fans up. Yeah. So concerts, yeah. The bringer of music, David. Sorry, we're going off track.
Metallica coming 2025.
I don't care. Give me good football.
Yes, agreed. Well, speaking of good football, you're probably not going to see it this weekend from the Panthers. Panthers taking on the Falcons, as we mentioned. Second division game for the Panthers this year. First one against the I-85 rival Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are 6-point favorites in Carolina.
Ouch. And I can't argue it.
It might seem too low. Like they could be 8-point favorites, and I still wouldn't feel comfortable taking the Panthers.
I will say this: they have a worse rush defense than the Panthers. So
statistically.
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 So
I think they are more talented than the Panthers on their, especially the current version of this defensive line we're probably going to see this week. But yes, I think they only have 5 sacks for the whole season. The Panthers have 6.
yeah, I think I put this in our breakdown, but I mean they're giving up 148 yards per game on the ground.
Yeah.
So I mean,
which is barely more than the Panthers, but it is more.
Yeah, I think the Panthers are at like 141.
No, I think it's like 146 or something. But yeah, it's either way. They're very similar on defense in terms of how bad they suck. But unfortunately, the Falcons' offense is a little better. But before we get there, before we get to the breakdown, it's all about the kids.
Gambling for the children.
It's all about the kids.
All about the kids. Again, we are doing this every week. We will put a $5, $10 bet on this game, and all proceeds, winnings will end up going to the children. Last week, Chuba Hubbard brought in some money, rushing for 70+ yards. So right now we're looking okay. So, do you like the spread of -6?
I kind of feel like I would take the Falcons at -6. It's -108, so it's pretty much even odds.
Okay.
Here's what I don't like Andy Dalton passing yards at all. I don't feel comfortable about that.
I don't like either one of them. I let's just get rid of passing yards because I don't think Kirk Cousins.
I mean, Kirk Cousins 225 or more at -220 is interesting. I mean, he went for 506, I think, last week.
Yeah, but if
we're
they
not
get a
going to
lead,
be able to rush the passer.
Do you think that they're gonna?
Well, they don't really rush the ball that much. I think they're averaging under 100 yards rushing a game with Bijan Robinson. Now, this could be the game that they're like, you know what? Let's let Bijan just go crazy. That could be this week. I mean, maybe we look at Bijan rushing, but what were you going to ask? The over about?
Over under's at 47. Do you feel any way about that? That's what
had last week not happened and we scored 10 points, I would feel pretty good about the over, but now, it feels like we could lose this game 35-10. So I know I really don't feel good about that either. What here's the ones I would again look at Chuba. Which his odds now are, what was it? I don't remember what it was last week for 70+. But it feels like it was around 140. It's plus 140 this week. It feels like it was around that last week.
I do too. I think it was right around like 150, 140, something like that. It wasn't crazy. I think also looking at Bijan at 80+ for 145. This is where I'm really liking it. The rushing and receiving yards for Bijan and Chuba are right where I would like them. 100+ for Bijan is at -105. Chuba at 75+ is -160, and you could go for 100 and get +185. Something he's hit 3 times in a row.
I wonder if you parlayed both of those together, like Bijan over. Say Bijan over 100, Chuba over 100. I bet you could get like plus 350 or something.
Okay. So do we want to do a parlay with Bijan and Chuba over 100+ on both of those?
And rushing and receiving.
Yeah. And then do a 5 on the spread with the Falcons?
I kind of like that.
Okay. Separate, not parlay, but like.
Right. So the parlay is the rushing receiving for both those guys.
Yeah.
And then a separate $5 bet, just in case we lose the other one. Let's have something that we feel pretty good about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I say let's do 10 on the spread. I feel really good about the spread.
Okay, this is my buddy here. Come on now.
It's for the kids. It's for the kids. I was about to say I actually feel really good about the spread. I'm probably gonna put some money on it myself. Which is sad. Like, I really want the Panthers to win, but, I might as well profit off their terribleness. And we'll talk about
David
why.
Tepper is. Why not us?
Right. We'll talk about why in a few minutes as to why I feel so bad about this game for us. But okay, I like that. So we've got two solid. I feel
let
like
me write that down
money-making
so I
bets
can
here.
put that in there
Okay.
afterwards. If you want to move on to the injury report.
Yeah, let's talk about these injuries here. And sorry, my face is gonna get white again. You guys start getting the dark version of these. Um, Sorry, I complain, but Jerry puts it together all these things for me. So thank you, Jerry. All right, injury report for the Panthers. It's a once again a long one. I'm gonna go through the list of players who did not practice today. First, Austin Corbett, we know is out. Josie Jewell, probably out. Taylor Moton, man, that would be bad if he's out, but DNP yesterday and today. Andrew Rame, the other backup center, concussion, probably not going to play. Tommy Tremble did not practice. Jadeveon Clowney did not practice. Ashawn Robinson did not practice. Those are all starters except for Rame.
Hey, I didn't practice today either.
Yeah, that's limited practice. Deontay Johnson, Ike Ekwonu, Dane Jackson, Ian Thomas, and Xavier Legette on the injury report, but full practice. Good. That's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least he's probably going to play.
Yeah, that being said, I do want to see some Jalen Coker. I think he looked good enough that I want to see more of him too.
I think we will see more of him. I could see him kind of taking over that number 3 spot from Mingo at some point. I mean, I think he's got bigger playability at this point.
I mean, he's shown more in the season than Mingo.
And the one game that he's played, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all those cokeheads were right, maybe.
The cokeheads, yeah. Falcons, quite a bit shorter. One player did not practice, Troy Anderson. Bijan, not on the injury report yesterday. Limited practice today with a hamstring. That's interesting. Darnell Mooney, limited practice with a knee. Nate Landman, limited practice. And then Matthew Judon, D. Alford, both listed as limited practice yesterday, full practice today. So both of those guys trending in the right direction. Mooney is pretty dang good. Like, they have some good players on that team.
They do. I mean,
yeah.
Hats off to their GM. I felt like whoever that is, I don't know their GM off the top of my head, but they put together a nice roster. They really did. I was like looking over it, and I was like, man, they're solid all around. I mean, and
they went out and got Kirk Cousins, right? They upgraded a quarterback. That's what they had to do. They felt like that was their missing piece, and they went out and spent money on it.
Yeah, and they got Raheem Morris, who I think is a good coach. I kind of didn't like his overall coaching staff, but for the most part, I think he's a good coach, and I think he can rally guys.
Yeah, he was somebody I wanted the Panthers to look hard at. You know, he obviously got head coach before with Tampa when he was young. I think he was like 30.
I think he was a little older,
something like that.
Yeah, he was like
in his early 30s.
Mid-30s, yeah.
Early 30s. Bad roster, obviously didn't do well, but he's cut his teeth again as an assistant coach, and now he's back, in his early 40s. He's still pretty young.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really like him. I think he unfortunately is going to haunt us for a long time as a really good head coach in this division.
I will say, if you ever listen to, he's been on quite a few podcasts and stuff like that, and as a coordinator and stuff, he's so smart. Like, you could tell the guy is just football knowledge beats astronomical, the way he sees the field and stuff like that. So yeah, I really do hate the fact that we do have to see him twice a year.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future. But hey, maybe we've got a good young coach in our own right that with a little more roster management could start showing something. So we'll see. Jerry, you got trivia down here. Do you have a trivia question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Quickly, what is Kirk Cousins' career record against the Panthers?
Okay. So Washington, Minnesota. Obviously hasn't played us as the Falcons yet. I'm going to say probably haven't played him a ton. Maybe like, 4 or 5 times? many times have we played him?
He has played us 5 times.
Okay, 5 times. I'm going to say 3-2.
Congratulations. 3-2 is the record. He went 0-2 with Washington, and then went 3-0 again with Minnesota. So there we go.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously the Washington teams weren't great. Minnesota teams, he's had pretty good talent there. So, all right. Well, let's talk about this game. Keys to victory. Jerry, you kind of already mentioned the first one.
Yes. The Atlanta gives up 148 yards per game. I don't want to watch a very long blowout against the Panthers. So run the dang ball. Keep running it. Chuba Hubbard averages 10 yards per carry. Don't give him 13 carries. He needs 25 carries in that situation. Miles Sanders, get him the ball. Do not leave Andy Dalton to win you this game. Put it in the hands of your running backs and slow the game down. Maybe you get them cold. Maybe you get a turnover. I don't know. Our defense isn't going to stop them consistently, but at least run the ball so you could give their defense some chance.
Here's a stat I heard earlier. Chuba Hubbard, over the last 3 weeks, has the second most rushing yards in the league, second only to Derrick Henry. Pretty good company. Yeah, feed him. Feed him. They are bad on third down. They're the worst team in the league on third down defense. They are bad at time of possession. They only average 26 minutes of time of possession. They can be run on. We can control the clock. Limit their offensive opportunities because every time they get the ball, they're likely going to move down the field. We can't rush the passer. And Kirk Cousins with time is going to be deadly. He just is. I mean, they have really good offensive talent. Like, this is a good offensive team against a very bad defensive team right now. Don't let them play offense. Long drives, run the clock, run the ball, take your field goals when you need to. Let's not be stupid with fourth downs, right? Let's just try and I want 40 minutes of time of possession. Like, that's the only way I think they're going to win this game.
And don't give up. If you're down 2 scores in the first half, keep running the ball.
Keep pounding.
Exactly. It is not right. Andy Dalton's not going to win us this game. Andy Dalton, I think you're a good quarterback. I think you are what you are, but the rest of the team can't win this game by a shootout. It's just not.
I think Andy Dalton has the capability of winning us games. I don't think this is one of them. Just because, again, in a shootout, I would take Kirk Cousins over Andy Dalton. Yeah.
100%.
And I don't particularly love Kirk Cousins. I think he's, but he's good at what he does, right? And when he has time, he's good, and he's going to have time. Well, under pressure, he's way worse. I stole this from PFF, but okay.
Hey, we pay them. We pay them our subscription.
Stole this from PFF. With no pressure this year, Kirk Cousins, 81.2 passing grade, right? That's not passer rating, passing grade, with only 1 turnover-worthy possession. Under pressure, 54.5 passing grade with 7 turnover-worthy passes. And that's like second most in the league, I think. So when you get pressure on him, he's way more liable to turn the ball over. Unfortunately, we can't get pressure on anybody. Caleb Williams had over 3 seconds to pass the ball last week. And that's a guy who has not had time at all this year. And against us, he's a completely different player.
Because he's got a clean pocket.
Right. And Kirk Cousins is going to have a clean pocket. Going to have a clean pocket all night, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Especially if Clowney doesn't play. Like, who's going to play?
I don't know. Some Joe Schmo with a Old Peppers jersey in the first row. I mean,
maybe might be just as effective.
I think it will be. I mean, considering nobody else has stepped up in this team.
Well, that was our second key: is try and generate some sort of pass rush. Again, you're gonna have to bring pressure. You're gonna have to bring pressure. You're gonna have to leave those corners on an island. you've got to figure out some way to make Kirk Cousins rush his throws. You've got to make him uncomfortable. You have to. I don't believe the team can do it. They have not shown that they can do it. But I mean, bring 8. Like, just do something different defensively. They've got to try.
Yeah. And our last key to victory, this is my key. Contain Bijan Robinson. I think this guy is the real deal. I think he is the truth. I mean, he is what scares me on that offense. I know you love Kyle Pitts. I think Drake London is a good receiver. I don't think he doesn't scare me to the fact of Bijan Robinson looks like an elite player in my eyes. I think he can run the ball. He could catch the ball. He's a 3-down back. He is similar to Christian McCaffrey when we had him, where other teams were like, oh, crud. He is dangerous.
Yeah, he's the guy you have to game plan against, right? He's what we hope that Jonathan Brooks looks like. Again, same college. Jonathan Brooks played behind Bijan. I agree. I do think Kyle Pitts is better than he has shown in his career. Obviously, he's not shown to be worthy of the 8th overall pick.
Yeah.
So
don't draft a tight end top 10. Just
unless he's Brock Bowers, right?
Brock Bowers was like 14th or 15th.
Okay. Still a first round pick.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Or was he was the 4th overall pick, was he, Kyle Pitts?
He was 8th. He was 8th.
Yeah, okay. So either way, yeah. I mean, I like Kyle Pitts. He's not someone that I would expect to have a big game against the Panthers, but who knows? They all could. But yeah, I agree. Rush the passer would be number 1 key for me. Number 2 key is, try and stop Bijan. He's the guy. He's the game breaker, right? He's the best offensive player on that team. So I would agree. All right, let's move on here to predictions. Jerry, what's your bold prediction for this game?
I really don't have one. I mean, I'm just fine. I'm going to go stick it with my thing here. Chuba Hubbard.
Stick with your thing.
175 total yards.
Yeah, I like that. Let's go with that one. All right, game predictions. I am going to go first here. I think the Panthers, unfortunately, are going to lose this game. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I'll be generous here and say 28-17 Falcons.
I have Falcons 33, Panthers 20.
All right. Well, I hope we're wrong.
I did too.
I hope we're wrong, but I don't know how you can have any faith in this team right now. So that's kind of where we are.
Yep. That's where I'm sitting at. I started having a little faith after Dalton picked up, and then last week was just such a...
Yeah, best case scenario is last week was the outlier.
Yeah.
Right? Last week was the blip, and we're back to normal this week. That's the hope.
Losing to Cincinnati, we were fine. We were, I have a little hope. They look decent.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad loss. Like, it was a loss where I think that was the game where a couple of balls go our way and we win that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
This last game against Chicago was not that way at all.
No.
But maybe we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at Meowmix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
Be back after the game. Late game, by the way, 4:25. So we'll be back that evening. And until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.